For Comedy Hype News, I'm Jay Will. Over the weekend, it appears that actor Terry Crews wanted to get a few things off his chest in regards to the lack of support he received from black men regarding his sexual assault incident. If you can recall, back in 2017, during the wave of Me Too allegations, Crews would open up about being sexually assaulted by a male Hollywood executive at a party in 2016. Now, many would assume that Crews, who clearly has a muscular build, would have used his strength to physically give the executive a lesson on violating him. Instead, he would decide to take a more legal approach. Now, D.L. Hughley would catch wind of the story, and like many men, felt indifferent about Crews' response if they were put in that position. In an interview with Vlad TV back in 2018, Hughley would go on to tell the cameras, "God gave you muscles so you can say no. You can't touch my dick in front of my wife. If I pay you, that's me. That's where I come from. That shit you'll never do to me." During his Twitter rant over the weekend, Crews would go on to call out Hughley and others over their comments. The comedic actor would even go on to ask Hughley if he should slap the shit out of him. Now today on his show, The D.L. Hughley Show, D.L. would go on to address Terry's threat and the exchange on Twitter.
So over the weekend, of course, I'm sure many of you saw the Twitter exchange between Terry Crews and myself. Maybe it's a coincidence that earlier that week he had been getting a lot of heat for his defense of Gina Rodriguez, and black women had come after him on Twitter to the extent that he deleted his tweet and then apologized and then said, I was speaking from my perspective. And then 12 hours after that, he brings up the article of an interview I did a year ago. Maybe it's a coincidence that he talked about slapping me, but not the dude who violated him. Terry apologized for speaking from his experience. I do not. I spoke from mine. Even in the Vlad interview, I never said what he should have done. I said what I would have done. Because in my experience, the way I grew up, if you let people violate you, they kept doing it. I'm not victim shaming. You call it toxic masculinity. I'll call it survival. That was the way I grew up. That was my experience. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, you wanted to get big. Remember that? I can't wait to get big so people stop bothering me. When we were growing up, the only reason to go to a gym or take karate or box was either to have people stop messing with you or to get somebody back. That was all. You wanted people off you. Look at Muhammad Ali. You can look at any athlete. They went and got physically stronger because they were tired of being victims. And so that was a perspective I was speaking from. I'm saying to you, I would have done, not you. I wouldn't let somebody I paid touch me. But let alone let anybody touch me in front of my wife, let alone somebody who I was paying. You're not going to fondle me and give me an invoice. That's just not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But I find it interesting that people who would never defend anybody. It's interesting to me now because we live in the intersection of Me Too and barbecue bacon. Like, it's interesting that the people who rush to his defense, it's interesting the things that they say. It's interesting. I find it refreshing that you can see black men as a victim because society for a long time couldn't. For that movement, he works well because he's big, he's black, he's strong, and they can look at him and say, even he can be a victim. Look at even him. That is great when it works for your narrative. Now that you know that black man can be a victim, apply it more even. Now that you see that we can be victims too, the next time something happens, speak out just as loudly as you are now. You can speak loud when somebody is fondled, when a black man is fondled, but not when he's shot.
As of now, there's no word if the men were able to speak about this matter in person, but let's talk about it more in the comments below. Whose perspective are you siding with more? And for more news and comedy, head over to comedyhype.com and follow us across social media. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Jay Will.